Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The galaxy's worst mistake: underestimating humanity until it was too late. The stars had many secrets. But one day, a new world was discovered, Earth. A patrol ship from the Arcana Union, one of the largest alien alliances in the galaxy, found strange signals near a blue planet. At first, they thought it was just another primitive world. But the signals were complex: music, languages, laughter, stories. Curious, they sent a team. What they found surprised everyone. Polite and peaceful, the humans welcomed the Arcana explorers with open arms. They offered food, water, and shelter. No weapons, no demands. Children waved at the aliens. Scientists asked questions with excitement. Leaders offered friendship, not fear. One Arcana diplomat, named Real Tan, reported back to the Union, "These humans are soft, kind, peaceful. I believe they are no threat." The message spread quickly across the galaxy. The galaxy laughed. Soon, Earth was invited to join the Galactic Council. It was a group of powerful alien races that made decisions for the whole galaxy. Human ambassadors traveled to the Council's central planet. They wore suits, smiled politely, and listened more than they spoke. The other races laughed behind their backs. One alien news station said, "Earth is a planet of pets. Tame little creatures in nice clothes." No one feared them. Especially not the Drexery. The Drexery mocked. The Drexery were different from the others: tall, armored, and aggressive. They respected strength, not kindness. To them, humans were weak. In one council meeting, a Drexer general named Tharno stood and said loudly, "Why are these pets in our hall? Did someone lose their zoo animals?" The room laughed. The human ambassador, Elena Cross, said nothing. She just smiled and took her seat. Earth's silence. Humans didn't argue. They didn't fight. They kept smiling. They kept listening. They offered medical help, science, and trade. They sent peace missions to troubled planets. They saved lives. But the more kind they were, the weaker they looked to the rest of the galaxy. The Drexery began to speak louder. "Humans don't belong here. They're soft. They'd break in a real war." The mocking continued, eyes always watching. What the galaxy didn't know was this: humans were watching. They heard every insult, recorded every laugh, noted every weakness. Deep under Earth's surface, secret projects were active. In the shadows of human space, special teams were training. Not for war, but for what comes after peace fails. A top-secret Earth division called Shadow Protocol monitored every alien move. Their motto: "Let them think we're harmless." That is the first weapon. An unexpected invitation. Weeks later, the Arcana Union sent another invitation to Earth. They wanted humans to build an embassy on the Council planet. Earth accepted. Elena Cross arrived with a team of human diplomats. Again, no weapons, just data pads, smiles, and culture. They shared human art, music, books, history, but never showed the wars. Never told about Earth's darker past. One Drexery warrior sneered, "Even your history is boring. Do you ever fight?" Elena smiled, "Only when we must." The calm before the storm. Back on Earth, the president watched the galaxy's reaction. He stood in the war room, screens lighting up the dark space. The generals stood behind him. One said, "They think we're weak." The president nodded. "Let them. When the time comes, they'll see who we really are." In the deep void of space, a Drexer battleship passed by a small human science vessel. They locked on their weapons for fun. Inside the Drexer ship, the captain laughed, "These humans won't even notice." But far away, in Earth's Shadow Protocol HQ, a screen lit up. A voice said, Drexer's ship just targeted one of ours. No attack, just a scan. The commander responded calmly, log it. File it under, mistakes they'll regret. The screen turned dark. The mask was still on, but not for long. The humans stayed calm even when the Drexer mocked them. Even when alien news called Earth a planet of peaceful fools. But things were changing in the background. Quietly, carefully, Earth was watching, waiting, and preparing. The science ship in the far reaches of space, a human science ship called Orion Echo, was exploring a strange asteroid field. It carried peaceful researchers. No soldiers, no weapons, just scientists studying the stars. But then, without warning, it vanished. No signal, no distress call. Gone. The truth revealed. At first, the Council blamed space storms. But humans recovered a black box. The ship's last recording showed a Drexer pirate ship decloaking, boarding the science vessel, taking everyone, then destroying the ship completely. Not a single life survived. Not even the children on board. The video leaked. The galaxy stayed quiet. No one apologized. No one punished the Drexery. The human ambassador, Elena Cross, stood at the council meeting with tears in her eyes. You said we were part of the council. You said we were equal. So why is there no justice? No one answered. The Drexer general just smirked, maybe your pets flew too far. Earth's patience runs out. Back on Earth, President Hale watched the footage. His hands were steady. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold. Send the signal. Activate Iron Veil. In secret, 10 black ships launched from Earth's hidden military base. No lights, no markings, just silence and speed. They carried no diplomats, only Ghost Squad operatives, the best of the best, trained for revenge. Diplomacy dies. Earth still tried one last time. Elena Cross gave a final speech in the council hall. She spoke to every race, we came in peace. You gave us war. We asked for friendship. You gave us silence. You think we are tame, weak, slow. But Earth has a truth you haven't seen. She looked straight at the Drexer table. We smile because we choose to, not because we must. And then she left, forever. The ghosts move. 1 week later, a Drexer listening post deep in the Archon void went silent. No alarms, no escape pods, just darkness. A council investigation team visited. All they found was this message scratched into the wall, you pushed too far. On another planet, a Drexer fuel station exploded. Sabotage. Security footage showed nothing. Only shadows moving fast. Another message appeared, now we hunt. The council panics. Suddenly, the laughter stopped. The Drexery sent ships to protect their borders. Other alien races started locking down planets. One Archina diplomat whispered, we thought they were gentle. Now they don't even speak. Another replied, maybe they were never tame at all. In a deep underground base on Earth, Ghost Squad Commander Rhea Cole stood before her team. We gave them a chance, she said. They took our people, burned our ship, mocked our peace. She held up a holomap of Drexer space. Now they see our real face. We are not pets. We are predators. Her team nodded. They moved out. No one would hear them coming, but everyone would feel them arrive. The galaxy still believed Earth was angry but not dangerous. They thought humans would protest, maybe leave the council, maybe cry in silence. They were wrong. Earth was already at war. But it was not loud. It was not bright. It was silent, dark, and deadly. The first real strike had already begun. Drexer Base. Outpost Core Outpost COR sat deep in Drexer territory. It was a fortress, surrounded by gun turrets, protected by shields, filled with elite warriors. It had never been attacked. It had never even been threatened. That changed on a cold night. The first alarm sounded too late. By the time the Drexer guards reached their posts, the power had already gone out. Lights flickered. Doors jammed. Gun turrets turned but fired at nothing. Then came the smoke and shadows and fear. Ghost Squad 9 arrives. Commander Rhea Cole and her Ghost Squad entered the base like phantoms. Their armor absorbed light. Their weapons made no sound. They didn't speak. They didn't shout. They moved fast, precise, like machines trained in vengeance. Every Drexer soldier who raised a weapon was taken down before their finger touched the trigger. Within 10 minutes, the base was silent. The humans gathered all the data, all the weapons, and left a message on the command center wall: "You wanted to see our teeth. Now you will." The galaxy reacts. News of the base's destruction spread fast. The council was shocked. The Drexery were furious. They demanded answers. Elena Cross stood in the council once again. She spoke only 6 words: "We warned you. You didn't listen." She left and didn't return. Earth's quiet power. The galaxy began to notice something strange. Earth, the peaceful planet, had built powerful ships in secret. They had cloaked satellites watching everything. Human AAS were hacking communication networks silently. And now, Ghost Squad teams were attacking high-value Drexery targets across multiple star systems. But Earth never declared war. They never raised their flag. Earth just struck and disappeared. The trap at Vos Prime. The Drexery set a trap. They leaked false information about a secret weapon on a planet called Vos Prime. They waited. They brought their best warriors. They prepared for humans. But when the trap was triggered, it was the Drexery who screamed. The human operatives had known it was bait. They used it against them. Drones disabled their defenses. ENMP pulses fried their tech. By the time the Drexery realized the trap had flipped, half their force was down. The other half surrendered. Another message appeared: "This is mercy. You won't see it again." Alien fear grows. Across the galaxy, whispers started: "Earth is not what we thought." They were wearing a mask. They were never peaceful, just patient. Even the Arcana Union, once friendly, started backing away. They feared what was coming because humans weren't angry anymore. They were focused. And nothing was more terrifying than focused humans. Back on Earth, President Hale received a message from Shadow Protocol. 3 Drexery fleets are preparing to retaliate. He nodded slowly. Let them come. It's time they see what happens when the mask comes off. He turned to his generals. Deploy Project Reaper. Lights dimmed. A hidden launch bay opened beneath the sea. Massive black ships began to rise. Not for defense. Not for peace. But for judgment. The Drexery sent 3 full battle fleets. Each fleet had over 100 warships. Each fleet had wiped out civilizations before. Now they came for Earth. They wanted to make humans kneel. They expected fear. But what they found was silence. Earth didn't send diplomats. Earth didn't send apologies. Earth sent reapers. The first contact again. Fleet Commander Zaylor of the Drexery watched Earth grow larger on the screen. He smirked. 1 shot from orbit, and their cities burn. He ordered a warning shot. A plasma beam shot toward Earth. But before it reached the planet, something intercepted it mid-space. A black object. Fast, sharp, deadly. It tore through the plasma like paper, then turned toward the Drexery fleet. More followed it. Hundreds. Thousands. Earth had released Reaper drones. AI-controlled fighters, made with no emotion and no mercy. The sky turns red. The Reaper drones moved like a swarm. They hid from above, below, and the sides. Drexery ships exploded within seconds. They had never seen weapons this fast, this smart, this terrifying. Their targeting systems couldn't keep up. Their shields failed. Their formations broke. In 10 minutes, one of the Drexer fleets was gone. Only dust remained. Earth speaks. The remaining 2 fleets stopped moving. They opened a channel to Earth. President Hale appeared on every screen. His face was calm. His voice was soft, but his words shook the galaxy. You came to destroy us again. You called us tame. Now you will see the beasts behind the mask. Turn around or be erased. Commander Exalter snarled, you dare threaten the Drexery? We are warriors. His screen cut to static. Because at that moment, a Reaper drone sliced through his bridge window. Earth's true face. The galaxy watched as Earth's weapons hunted Drexery ships like animals. Human technology adapted fast. Their drones learned from every battle. By the time the Third Fleet engaged, Earth's systems predicted every move. The Third Fleet surrendered. The Second Fleet tried to run. It didn't escape. The Council shakes. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Alien leaders argued in panic. Humans are monsters. We should have stopped them when they were weak. But one old Archina diplomat stood up. He had studied humans for decades. They were never weak. He said they were just pretending. And now the pretending is over. Silence filled the room. Everyone finally understood. The humans had never been tamed. They had only been waiting. Back on Earth, Ghost Squad Commander Rhea Cole stood in orbit, watching the remains of the Drexery fleet float in space. She looked to her team. This is what happens, she said, when they mistake kindness for weakness. Now they'll remember us, not as friends, but as the monsters they created. Her visor slid down. Her ship turned toward the next Drexery stronghold. The hunt wasn't over. It had just begun. The galaxy was no longer laughing. They were watching. And they were afraid. The Drexery had poked the wrong species. Now humanity was no longer calm. They were no longer polite. They were fighting back and winning. But humans weren't just defending Earth anymore. They were taking the fight into enemy space. Operation Shadow Storm. Deep in the Drexery Empire, on a world called Vorak Prime, factories built warships and weapons every hour. It was one of the most heavily guarded planets in their system. The Drexery believed it could never be touched. But they didn't know about Operation Shadow Storm. A fleet of stealth human ships appeared in Vorak orbit, undetected. Ghost Squad 9 was on board. Commander Rhea Cole gave a single order, shut it all down. The human ships released EMP bombs that disabled every Drexer satellite. Then, the Ghost Squad dropped from orbit in black pods. They landed in silence. And then chaos began. Factory of Fire. The Drexer factory alarms went off too late. By the time guards reacted, the humans were already inside. They weren't just planting bombs. They were downloading data, stealing weapon designs, destroying control systems. The Drexer panicked. Their weapons jammed. Their doors locked. And one by one, the factory towers exploded. Pillars of fire rising into the night. The skies above Vorak glowed red. From space, the human fleet watched the destruction. They didn't celebrate. They just turned and left, disappearing like shadows. They left behind one symbol burned into the ground, a human skull with binary code underneath. Retaliation confirmed. The broken empire. The Drexery home world was in shock. They had lost a major base. Their fleets were scattered. Their leaders argued and screamed. Some said to surrender, others wanted revenge. But they all agreed on one thing: the humans had changed the game. They didn't fight like anyone else. They didn't ask for peace. They didn't ask for war. They just gave warnings. And when ignored, they acted. The galaxy's reaction. Other alien empires began sending messages to Earth. Some begged for peace. Some offered alliances. Some just apologized for laughing. Earth responded with silence. They weren't looking for friends. They were cleaning the galaxy of those who thought humans were prey. A message from Earth. The Galactic Council begged Earth to stop. So Earth finally answered. A live message was broadcast from Earth's defense station in orbit. President Hale appeared on every screen. Behind him, the Earth defense fleet stood ready. You were warned. You attacked our people. You burned our colonies. We showed you kindness. You saw weakness. Now we show you truth. He leaned closer. Humanity is not a threat unless you make us one. You made us one. Now you get to see what that means. In deep Drexery space, a small scout ship floated quietly. Inside, 2 Drexery soldiers were listening to Earth's message. One of them shook with fear. They're not fighting for survival anymore. They're fighting with purpose. And they're not going to stop. Outside their window, dozens of Reaper drones activated. One turned its red eye toward them. And they knew the mask was gone. The war had changed. And Earth was just getting started. The galaxy watched in silence. Worlds that once mocked Earth were now locking their borders. The Drexer Empire, once feared across the stars, was losing planets one after another. Humans didn't invade like others. They didn't enslave. They didn't boast. They struck fast, hit hard, and vanished into the dark. No speeches. No banners. Just results. Drexerary collapse begins. In just 1 month, humanity had taken 7 Drexer outposts. Every operation was clean and deadly. Factories shut down. Commanders went missing. Entire fleets disappeared. Rumors spread like wildfire. Humans use invisible ships. They can hack our weapons mid-battle. They don't sleep. They don't stop. The Drexery Senate panicked. They called an emergency meeting. Some wanted to surrender. Others wanted to destroy Earth completely. But then the truth came. The spy message. One Drexery agent had returned from Earth disguised as a scientist. He brought a warning: they're not what we thought. They don't want to rule. They don't want our land. They only want one thing: for us to leave them alone. But it was too late. Humanity had already lost too much. They weren't stopping now. Ghost Squad's deep strike. Commander Rhea Cole and Ghost Squad 9 led a new mission. Target Drexery Prime, the enemy's capital moon. It was protected by defense rings, plasma barriers, and anti-ship turrets. No one had ever broken through, until now. The human ship Nightingale used a cloaking system based on quantum drift tech stolen from another alien race. They drifted past all sensors. Landed in silence. Ghost Squad split into teams. Their goal: disable the planetary defense core. Inside the beast's heart, the team entered the underground complex. Laser traps, guard patrols, drones, eye turrets. But the humans were trained for this. Rhea gave calm, clear orders. Each Drexer unit fell before they could sound alarms. In 42 minutes, the power core room was breached. They placed the charge. But before leaving, Rhea did one last thing. She took a Drexery flag and planted a human knife, throwing it on the wall. The message written under it: you started this. We'll decide when it ends. The explosion that shook the Empire. From orbit, Earth's fleet watched as the moon's defense ring flickered and died. Drexery Prime was now exposed. Every major leader in the Drexery Empire received the same silent transmission, a drone hovering over their cities, projecting one phrase in